Hello again, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of BB Uncovered, an 80-year odyssey. This is a specially curated studio session on the life and times of Dr. Biodun Shobanjo, specially curated by the Movement Studio. My name is Tosin Adefeko, but my friends call me Tosh. Today, I have two interesting personalities with me. You will love them because there's, slightly different from, if you've been following the series, from the guests we've had on the show. They're, I think, we're like contemporaries, I would say.
That's my senior colleague.
just accept, but let's see. Once you set up your own organization, we have become contemporaries.
Yes.
So this guy here was my mentee 10 years ago. His name is Bolaji Junaid. I fondly call him BJ. He's the CEO of Wi-Fi Night. Like I said, he's now my contemporary. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much.
To the Movement Studio. Thank you for joining us. And to my left is Temitope Ayeni. Temitope is the Director of Brand Management and Strategy at Extreme Ideas. We did work together at the group. Very limited contact, but I'm so happy that you were able to join us today.
Thank you so much, Tosh. Thank you for having me.
Why I say this is exciting is because both of them at some point were management trainees at the Troika Group. So it's not so much about you hearing from the big CEO. Some of us started from somewhere. And I think you would want to hear their own BB story. Let me start with Temitope, ladies first.
Yes.
Now, the first thing I always ask all the guests on the show is, what is your BB story? Your first encounter.
Yeah. My first encounter with Chairman BB was... when I joined the Troika Group as a management trainee, and that was in 2009, 2010. And I think in usual fashion, they take all the trainees to him. We meet with him at Troika in the boardroom. And when we got there, they had prepped us that, you have to do this. But when I saw him, I was just like, who is this person? Who is this person? What struck me first was the bow tie. And then when he spoke to us, I could just tell that, yes, this is a driving force in the industry. And we all left that place knowing that, okay, we have someone that has done this for so many years and that we're looking at and that, we just had to impress somehow. It was so knowledgeable. The way he spoke to us, we just knew that this was not an ordinary, 1 year training program. We knew that it was the beginning of our careers. And then shortly after that, I had a one-on-one experience with him. I was the class rep for my set. And then they just called me from HR that you need to go to Troika. The chairman wants to see you. I was like, the chairman wants to see me. Why? Why, for heaven's sake? And I was like, okay, fine. I went there. I got there. I saw Mommy O. And I waited for just about 5 minutes, and then I entered his office. And then when I entered the office again, I was like, wow, okay.
So that was your first time in his office?
Yes, in his office. That was my first time in his office. And then he asked me to sit down. We sat down, and he asked what I studied, where I studied. I told him, and he asked about my, course in school, what they taught us and everything. Apparently, he had been invited to speak in the University of Ibadan because I attended the University of Ibadan. And he had been invited to speak at the convocation ceremony for my department. And he just wanted to know what we were taught in school and then what the experience was like, in the field now practicing. And I told him it's absolutely nothing like it. We're not prepared for this. As in, it's like starting from zero, as the case is. And then he asked, okay, do I have any questions for him? I didn't prepare, but the only thing that could come to my mind was, why do you always wear a bow tie?
Okay.
I asked him, and he laughed. It was like, why does everybody always ask that? And he said, okay, the reason is because I am a brand and I want to stand out, and I'm a gentleman, and that is my signature. And I was like, okay,
I
no
love
problem.
it.
So it was, and I must also say that, the experience with Shobanjo, with the chairman in the Troika Group and at Insight, anywhere you walk, is almost in the walls, in the air, every time. It's so unwritten. But even if you've not met him physically, you somehow must have experienced him. Is it after a meeting and you don't draw back your chair in the, into the table and they say no. Here we push it back. That's what the chairman will say, meeting etiquettes and stuff like that. So in everything we do, we always experience him one time or the other because he has left the culture.
Let me go to BJ for a minute. Tell us your BB story before I go further into
I mean, so my BB story started back, I was in university, and I was pretty much maybe 100 or 200 level, and was on TV when I experienced the Apprentice Africa show. And I saw this man, very mysterious man that wants to sack everybody out of the show at the time. But what struck me most was the fact that I've been hearing advertising, but that was the first time I got close to the advertising sector. I'm actually studying business administration, so there was nothing communication, but it made me fall in love with advertising. I was like, if this is how they behave in this industry, then this is the industry for
one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And with the poise, everything, and it's quite knowledgeable. It was obvious on the show. It was the first time show in Nigeria at the time, and I just loved it. And for me, after that, I was like, if there's any way I want to work, it would be at Insight Communications. Everybody knew that my story. Even when I finished from NYSC, I was parading the entire compound trying to just to get inside there. But eventually, I got into the management training where we got to meet ourselves, right? And like Tope had said, is that everything around Shobi speaks to around the walls. Everybody, once you enter that compound, you will know that this is a different space. It's just like secluded from Nigeria itself. And I just love the fact that I could feel everything around him. Excellence is there. But my first physical conversation with him was, he came in one of our trainings like that. I think he just came in for a meeting and he just peeped in. And I was like, wow. It's like I was seeing a god.
I have to pause you there because you're like maybe second or third person saying, your boss, when he was here, Steve, he said it was as if Zeus. What is that? Why do people describe it in that way?
That at the time he had resigned from the everyday management of the company, and just him coming, and this is the man I've been seeing everywhere and he's here, right? So I just rushed up to him. I was like, sir, if there's anything you can do for me, I want you to give me an autograph. I wish I brought that autograph because it's one of the things that, I did an interview on Business Day at the point in time, and I said, if I want to work, it's going to be Inside Communications. And just seeing him sign on that thing was just like, this is the dream come true, right?
Fantastic.
And, that was it for me. And that was like the only time that we actually interacted. But I mean, at the end of it all, after my management traineeship at the time was Mr. Jimmy Awoshika that was in the channel.
Your boss, okay.
Yeah,
That's a very interesting beginning from two of you. Let's go into your why, as in when you experienced BB, when you experienced Insight, what is it about the organization he created that made you want to stay, to learn, to grow, and further your career? What is it about that organization?
I think about Troika Group and the management training program. So it's not even just about Insight, because we went round the group and then we even went to the, clients' offices too and media houses and everything. But what I could see across all the sister companies was a drive for excellence. And that was what struck me. I studied communications, but when I came for my first interview, I was told, why don't you go into acting? And I was feeling like, it's not about, I'm more than a pretty face. I have brains and everything. But a lot of my colleagues left at that point, but I just felt like this was somewhere that taught you the rudiments of this career. It's often called the University of Advertising in Nigeria.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of my colleagues were actually poached and left, but I just felt like I have so much more to learn because of the way it had been passed out. I mean, Bolaji said that at a point, the chairman was no longer visible to a lot of people. It was, it was Bale that was visible to a lot of us. But you could tell that it was still that same spirit of excellence, a drive for, purpose that was driving the business and the type of accounts that we had at that point. I just felt there was so much more to do, and that gave me the avenue to do it. The type of brands, that we managed at that point. And everything from everyone that you interact with, it's almost like that knowledge had been passed down and kept, trickling.
Was distilled, properly distilled. I love that. So, I mean, you can also take us, on the same question of, is it the culture? What is it about the organization that BB founded?
So I'll borrow from what Oprah said when
Yes.
she said is the University of Advertising. So after my own BSc experience, I wanted to go back to school and work like together, and I think Insight was the perfect place because first of all, is also that fact that you have to learn. There's always something new to learn, no matter your position in that organization. There's always something fresh. You know, whereby Bale will call you into a meeting, and before you know it, you're already jotting a 2-page, down
true.
because and I think like we all know, Shobi has actually started that, and that has helped everybody in the organization to always stay ahead of the curve. So everything that we do, there's always the fact that there's so much more to do. Just keep at it. And for me, staying was a no-brainer because at the end of the day, where else do you want to get the kind of opportunity that you have? You just broaden your mindset, the kind of people you meet. So even as an account executive, they are comfortable. They've trained you enough to even speak to CEOs. That doesn't happen every day in an organization. So for me, it was just like, keep at it and just keep pushing because definitely I see where I am today.
Exactly. Look where I am today.
Yes.
So let's talk about some specifics, and I
Yes.
think you can still continue your train of thoughts.
Yeah.
So, do you have any memorable campaigns that you want to share? Like just one story, something that if it involved BB, fine, but regardless, we're talking about the institution he built.
So away from Apprentice Africa,
Yes.
I remember the first time I was like, who are the guys behind this? The orange
Behind
orange,
which? Oh, the three
the
orange men.
Because I was like, wow, as in, who could think about these things? Even my parents didn't understand when I said I wanted to do advertising.
Yes.
But when I told them, do you remember Three Orange Men? Oh, yeah. So
It's that company.
Exactly. And it's very funny. And the second one was Good Ultimate Search.
Okay.
And for
Udeme?
me, yes. No, Udeme, no. It's
Oh,
different.
sorry, that's different from Udeme. The
Yes.
Ultimate Search was different.
Ultimate
Okay.
Search was more or less like fresh.
Okay, the man is Guinness.
Guinness,
This is
yeah,
Gouda.
yes.
Got you.
And for me, even though I wasn't a drinker, but I was tempted to drink Gouda because it just shows how people can use creativity to change the dynamics of perception of a product. So for me, I was just, whenever they finish that show, I would just be looking at the cast to see Insight communication. I will work in this space. And for me, when I got in, just knowing the works itself, I was able to work on a couple of campaigns.
Yes.
Bank PHB, I think that was
So
it.
were you part of Bank PHB?
I wasn't part, but I
Okay.
mean, those are the campaigns I remember.
The one that were singing some choral.
No.
No,
Cows will run on
someday,
water.
one day, cows will run on water.
They didn't do the choir one. Inside didn't do the choir.
Inside did
Did
the
choir
choir
one
one
as
as
well.
well.
That was memorable as well.
The cars will run water, and we have it already, running on water. So for me, those are the campaigns. And coming in, I recall the peak milk.
Yes.
From generations to generation, I know that they did it before I came in, but 60th campaign also Reach for Your Peak that is still currently being used. I was part of that exactly, and also talk about Amsterdam that was my Oga back then. She was actually the one that taught me most of the things I knew.
Fantastic.
From
I love it. Do you want to share some of your own memorable campaigns?
Okay, I mean, if we're taking it back, because we're talking about BB here, so, and it's really, there's no way you're in Insight and you're talking that you're not hear some of the history. So is it about Indomie, Insight being the, agency to launch Indomie into the market, but like Bolaji said, my own experience there and the memorable campaigns that I had, and I was fortunate to have been a part of. Coincidentally, Three Orange Men, I didn't work on that campaign. I was still in school. But when they were running that campaign, I was doing my IT in a PR firm in Surrey then, and it was that campaign. So I already had some insights into insights. See what I did there?
Yes. If you can.
Yes. So I liked that, and then Bank PHB.
Okay.
I was fortunate to join the team, that worked on that campaign, and then all our Nigerian breweries campaigns. I mean, nowadays I don't even see advertising being practiced to the length and breadth at which we used to practice it, especially because of the advent of social media and digital, because back then we were doing big campaigns that would run from end to end. And I do miss it. I miss it a lot. When we work on all our, Ayeni campaigns, is it the chairman campaign for Ayeni? And that also reminded me of, the chairman, Biodun Shobanjo, then too. They're just a lot to count.
Too numerous to mention.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. I love it. Okay, let's talk about his personality and you can just share, because we're sharing stories and we want him to also see himself in the stories that we share. And if you can share one or two things about his personality that you think you currently emulate now in your own life. Let me start with myself.
Yeah.
Now, when I went to start meetings, the way I've trained the team is such that everybody must be seated at least 5 to 10 minutes before the meeting starts.
Yes.
And then if the meeting is at 10, I make sure I walk in at 10 on the dot. That's what chairman would always do.
Yes.
So I've copied him.
Yes.
So share yours.
So I mean, I do agree with you.
Yes.
Even, like I said, it always trickles down. So because we didn't have that much interaction with him at that time, but would always hear the stories.
Yes.
But one of the things that I took from him was, or I would say is, the eye for quality. I remember there was a time, I can't remember the campaign that we did now. It wasn't any of the accounts I worked on, but I was in the agency and Bale walked into the shop floor and it was like, who's the manager on this account? That I just got a call from the chairman that he saw the billboard and he was like, what type of fonts is that? Why is there an error, on the billboard and stuff like that? And I was like, okay, so he's even still observing these things till now without even being actively, practicing. So that, and secondly, his appearance, which is very personal for me. So immediately I saw him and every other person in Insight too. They always come correct, They dress sharp, they look sharp. That's what it is. And I just took that up. I was like, it's an impression that you're making on people. And in this business, we're actually in the business of perception shaping. So I took that also personally from him. It's one of the things I've imbibed. I always, try to look the part. Because people respect you when you, dress a certain way and when you're formally addressed. I agree with the meeting, I talked about, boardroom etiquette earlier, how you drive a meeting. And he always says that a good meeting shouldn't last more than 1 hour.
Exactly. What are you busy talking about?
What are you talking about? So, I mean, it's just the finer qualities in our craft. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I mean, Dr. will remember this when they used to tell me that, why are you always walking coco? Those are the things I got from Chairman because at the time then, even if it's just 1, 2 or 2 I must come correct though, so I mean, those are appearance is a given. But second, I also think that it's part of driving a business like it's your own. I think ownership spirit is what has been cut across that particular company via the chairman because even as an intern, you always believe that you can make an impact and you have a role to play in the organization. The third thing I will mention, which is very related to my last one, is the fact that everybody across the cadre, even from the MD, you don't look down on anyone. Everybody has a role, like you have something.
Ideas can come from anywhere.
You don't look down on anyone. So even my team now, they'll be like, you're the Gen Z boss. There's no boss here. We just have to do the right thing and make sure that we move the business forward. And I think one of the last, perhaps the last one I will mention is the fact that for every client that I experienced at my early start of my career back at Insight, beyond the fact that we're even giving, we are delivering value to them, there's also the respect they have for the organization. That just, once you enter a room and you say, probably you're pitching for a business, once you see Insight, there's a way they just look you immediately. And I think that's strong. Because even beyond the fact that the owners of the business have left everyday management, but they still see that these guys are actually legacy. For you to be there, then you're actually a different guy. So even for me now, even despite the fact that I run my own firm, I still can't run away from the fact that where I started from is still a strong brand that I can always leverage on.
I actually have something to add, and I think Tosh might actually agree with this. So when I joined Insight, I was opportuned also to, because I was a class rep, so it was Christmas, and then we're going to do gifting. So I went with the finance director then to Adam and Eve, and I was like, why are you getting, this type of gifts for the clients? And it was like
so
that is how we do it. And then I started hosting our events and everything. And also very closely related to quality, I quickly learned that there are certain ways chairman likes, parties at Insights to be, and it has also dwelled on me till now. When I'm doing things, it has to be a certain way, top notch, because it's not worth doing if you cannot do it well. So the parties that would throw, even when we're hosting clients and things like that, everything was always prim and proper. The best of the best, as in, and it was very evident that it was from chairman. It wasn't because any other person just wanted to do it that way.
Wow, I feel like chairman has managed to create some mini BBs all around.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're almost rounding this up, but let's talk about his impact on the industry, and I think you can start, Temitope.
Okay, yeah. So I think he.
So this is the legacy question.
Yes, I think he truly is the godfather of advertising.
I love it. That's a good.
I think he is truly the godfather of
Mm.
advertising because there's no how you want to talk about advertising in Nigeria and mention the greats that his name would not be mentioned. And in the campaigns that he's developed and the sheer value that his group has brought to the industry. I mean, just the same way you start with one company and then you start building the subsidiaries into the same, ecosystem is just mind-blowing. So I think he has actually opened the pathway for a lot of other, companies or companies to form as a group also in their own in their own right. So I think he has had a lot of impact. It's just mind-blowing that when you talk to people like the Gen Zs of this world now and they don't even know who
Dr.
Biodun Shobanjo is.
They will know by the time we finish
I'm
telling this.
like, you are missing.
They must know.
I always tell them that you're missing. And, even it's not even just to the young, even to the old, because I know how highly my boss, Steve, also thinks of him.
Of course.
And every other person that has,
encountered
him.
Yes.
Oh, so
Legacy.
Legacy. First of all, I think this would be a very good platform to say this. Thank you, Chairman, for writing your book.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we've had greats in this country.
The will to win.
The will to win, exactly. Because I read that book and I think I've gifted up to like 10 copies.
Oh,
so anybody that tells me I want to do advertising, go and read that book first. So thank you for writing that book because you have given the next generation something they can refer to. And some of the stories that I didn't even know about, I've read it. I'm like, okay, so this is what happened. Yeah. But in terms of legacy, like I would say, I remember when I decided that if it's not Insight, I'm not working for anybody to start with, was I listed out 10 top advertising agencies at the time, and all of them had history with Insight.
That means they
passed
passed
system,
through.
yes.
Wow.
And I'm like, who created this? As in, it's just it's just amazing to see that everybody that passed through that system, and for you to replicate, that means that it's solid. Nobody can question that kind of material. So for me, he has done that for this industry. The fact that we are still here is because somebody built it and we are still eating from it. Yes. So yeah, well done, sir. And I think legacy is legacy. Today I would say that even me, if there is any way I can repay it, is also to bring in. And that thing, I think we should actually mention that.
Yes.
Everybody that has passed through that system, we have this gift of giving back, building people up.
Yes.
And I think there's a spirit that reigns within that system that BB created. The fact that we always want to share, no holding back of ideas. We just believe that.
Because there's a sense in which he also gave us at every point in time that platform to thrive. So you also want to give it
So
back.
I mean, when they gave us that management traineeship for 1 year, and it's after I started my home business and I attempted to do so, and we're like, this is actually like expensive.
Expensive. It's Herculean. It takes some time.
It's a lot.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And somebody
Yes.
did it for 1 year. Wow. So for me, that's massive investment of
Continuously.
Yes.
I think I was about the 8th set.
Yes.
Wow.
And mine was
Amazing.
2014, and they've started it again.
What year were you taking to play?
2010.
Wow.
I was 2014.
Amazing. Amazing.
So I mean, the legacy is there,
Yes.
and we are the legacies, and we still continue.
Wow. If you haven't been inspired by this conversation, then I don't know that I can help you. Because honestly, these are two young, bright minds doing great stuff. And they're just talking about the story of the person that gave us all that platform. Before I let them go, I'm going to ask you guys to wish Dr. Show a happy birthday. But before you wish him a happy birthday, you just tell us 3 things. Describe him in 3 words.
A gentleman, a great mind, fashionable.
I love it. Can you wish him a happy birthday?
BB, I'd like to wish you a very happy 80th birthday. And I pray that God will grant you good health of mind and body. Thank you for everything that you've done for us in this industry and as a group at Treka. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, sir.
DJ, 3 words.
Okay, 3 words. So let me borrow Jen's word. The king of steez. I'll do that then. I think a man of excellence and a man of integrity.
I love it. Thank you.
So in terms of wishing him happy birthday,
yes.
So sir, I know one of the first things that I told you then was the fact that I know you're from Ayekwe. I wish I can speak Ijebu, but yeah, I'm proud to say that I have some lineage there. But thank you, and I wish you the very best for 80. You're still strong. I still see some of your clips here and there, and I want to wish you good health, sound mind. You will see to live more years to see the glorious things that you have done in your past coming to your present right now. And I pray that we also will continue to keep the legacy, and even for the companies that you have built both in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Temitope Ayeni. This has been the most engaging and interesting conversation. Thank you so much, Bolaji Junaid, for joining us. This was yet another episode of BB Uncovered. My name remains Tosh. We look forward to much more. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We have more for you. Thank you for joining.